In today's video, we are jumping back into the Fisk Superhero mod to check out some new heroes and villains from a ton of different universes like Marvel, Star Wars, Pacific Rim, and even some characters you'd never expect. So let's just jump straight into it. Alrighty, and we are back with some more Fisk heroes. With the heroes and villains in this pack going from pretty much every universe that you can think of, ranging from ones that you might actually recognize like this one, and all the way to characters that I thought I would never ever see in a hero pack. So let's go ahead and get started with the guy on the thumbnail, and that is Infinity Ultron behind me right there. And I will say that it is actually quite rare to actually see like an Ultron in these packs, you know, let alone the Infinity version of him. But as you can see just by taking a closer look here, it does come with a really cool like red and gold cape right there, as well as the Infinity Stones right there on his chest. So let me go ahead and actually suit up. And one thing that you might actually realize as soon as you actually wear this suit is that we are going to be slightly taller, basically like half a head taller than any other sort of player, which, you know, is definitely going to help when it comes to the fear factor of this character. And before we actually dive into some of the abilities there with the Infinity Stones, I do want to show you guys a really cool detail, and that is if we go ahead and press right shift, we can actually lift up the mask, and then we can see the absolute nightmare, which is Ultron's face, which, if I remember rightly, is actually just like vision, but, you know, way worse. And so on top of having a little bit of a speed boost, we can of course go ahead and fly, which from the looks of it does feel like the same speed of any sort of flying hero or villain that we've seen before. But let me go ahead and show you guys what we're all here for, and that is the Infinity Stones on our chest, which you've probably noticed with the abilities on the top left there. But we can actually go ahead and switch between all the different kinds of stones right here. So we have like the reality, we have the soul stone, we have the time stone, we have the mind stone. I mean, yeah, this character is basically just, you know, like a walking talking infinity gauntlet, so you are going to be pretty damn powerful with this stuff on. So just showcasing a couple here, let me go ahead and use the space stone, where we get classic abilities like being able to teleport, which has a really cool like eerie effect. You can go ahead and use a force field as well, just, you know, in case you weren't already powerful enough. And with the mind stone being the mind stone, of course we can use some telekinesis, and this goes for all the different stones right here. So if I go ahead and switch for reality, I mean, this really does basically include every single one of the Infinity Stones powers. So, you know, if you want to be a giant robot that's basically, you know, untouchable, this is definitely the suit for you. With the time stone active, we can of course go ahead and decelerate time, which basically gives us slow motion, as you can see right there, or we can go the complete other way and actually turn into a little bit of a speedster. And yeah, that's on top of being able to teleport and also fly, so it's already pretty ridiculous. But if we go ahead and actually lift up the mask right here, we also get the classic sort of vision power, which is the mind stone blast right here. And yeah, as you can tell, it's again going to be insanely strong. And one little thing that I will actually say is that when you go ahead and actually switch the stones right here, you will see on the chest that all the different stones do actually light up, so you can see which one's active. So if you were in a battle with this with some friends or something and you're wondering what stone they're going to pick, you know, definitely not a bad idea to try and keep track of what stone they're using. But if you know Infinity Ultron right here, you do know that he comes with a very special weapon, and that being the double spear right here. And this thing is absolutely mean looking. Look at this. It looks like something that you would joust with. And just looking at this double spear itself, you can see that it does 9.5 attack damage, which in comparison to a diamond sword that only does 7. But yeah, having an insanely powerful weapon like this as well, like, this has definitely got to be one of the strongest characters that I've ever checked out. And I won't go through all the abilities with the actual stones here, but in the soul one, you do get regeneration. We can also get invisibility. We can get empowered punches. So, you know, just absolutely classic Infinity Stone stuff. And so after Infinity Ultron right here, we're going to take it all the way to the left, and we are going to go and visit an old favorite right here. And it does always look a little bit weird on the mannequin, but if I go ahead and click on this and hover over it, this is in fact Gypsy Danger's nuclear reactor, which if I go ahead and grab and actually jump all the way down here, and then go ahead and right click it like you would any other armor piece, and just like that, we are now in fact Gypsy Danger. And I will say as well that every time I come back to actually like revisit this hero pack, like every single time, this model always gets better and better every single update. And even the abilities on this one, I swear, have actually changed since the last time I checked this out. So we get the chain swords right here that we can actually activate, and as you can see, these weapons do not mess around. And when you are in this absolutely gigantic form, you are actually still able to sort of like break blocks and actually reach the floor, so don't worry about that. But I do want to show you guys an absolutely classic ability when it comes to Pacific Rim, and that is Equip Boat, which if you've seen Pacific Rim, you know that there's a scene where he literally uses like a cargo ship as a baseball bat, and right here, that is no different whatsoever. Where once equipped, we can actually go ahead and use this like any type of weapon. And yeah, I honestly have no idea what kind of damage this would actually do, but realistically, it is just you going to be bonking somebody with a cargo ship. So yeah, I'd probably say that it's going to be pretty damn powerful, which is where we have the last ability, which is the plasma casters. And these ones I definitely remember from the previous updates, where we can go ahead and pull that out. We have like this laser cannon right here, and we can go ahead and shoot just like normal. And one more thing, if you go ahead and grab it off of a mannequin, sometimes you will actually just be regular size, but when you run, I mean, just, yeah, you definitely got to use this in an open space. Otherwise, you know, you'll just be, you know, running around like this. So, which is where we take a step to the right, and some of you might actually recognize this outfit or this costume, but this suit behind me right here is in fact Marty McFly. So yeah, so far we have Marvel stuff, we have like Pacific Rim like kaiju stuff, and now we have Back to the Future. So you can start to see why at the beginning of the video I said that it has characters from loads of different universes, because yeah, I never ever expected Marty McFly in a hero pack. But let me go ahead and throw this on. And I will say that in terms of abilities, this one doesn't have too much going for it. But the abilities that it does have is honestly the last thing that I actually expected. Where when we actually have the suit equipped, you'll see that we have one ability right there, and that is Summon DeLorean. Which if we go ahead and press, I mean, just look at this. Like, we actually get the full model DeLorean right here. And this model right here is absolutely ridiculously detailed. I mean, it just looks so cool right here. Even the interior have like the flux capacitor right there in the middle. And yeah, just seeing this really makes me want to see like a DeLorean time travel mod. But whilst we are actually in the DeLorean right here, you can see that we do get a couple more abilities, such as setting the date right here, which I'm pretty sure you can actually go ahead and choose a disguise or a different skin or something like that. So you can basically become like an older or younger version of yourself, or even just a different character entirely. And then the last ability is of course to shift up, and you'll be able to see right there on the hotbar that we actually have a bunch of different gears to go through, including park. This is where we're actually able to drive the DeLorean around, and this is just hilarious to me. Like, just think how cool it would be if you could actually have like a time traveling DeLorean that goes all the way back to the Alpha or something like that. And of course we can go ahead and shift the gears up to full, which we are going to go pretty damn quick in this thing, but unlike in the films, if we do hit 88 miles an hour, nothing's really gonna happen. But again, it is really cool to actually have a character like this that I thought would never ever be in a hero pack actually having like some sort of abilities, and you know, definitely really fun to play around with. But moving on from the absolute classic Marty McFly, we do have a Star Wars character, which if you're a big Star Wars nerd like I am, you will recognize this as Starkiller. And I remember putting tons of hours into the Force Unleashed games when I was younger, and you can see that the Starkiller costume right here looks really sick. Even got the dual lightsabers at the hip right there. But before I actually show you guys the lightsabers, let me show you some of the other abilities Starkiller has, which includes a couple of passives like being able to jump a hell of a lot higher than a regular player, and you're even able to do a couple of like Jedi flips just like that one. But aside from that, it is time to show you the Force abilities. So first of all, we do get Force Grab, which is going to be pretty much the same as telekinesis, where you can bring them forward or throw them away. We have the Force Lightning or Sith Lightning right here, which again is really powerful and going to have a crazy knockback on that. As you can see, you can just juggle them for days. But say if you're being overwhelmed by a bunch of enemies at once, we can go ahead and use the Force Burst right there, which if we hold down, we actually do like this charge up effect, and then we go ahead and launch a good couple of enemies that are actually surrounding us. And you'll see that when we do use this ability, it does have a little bit of a charge up as well as a tiny bit of a cooldown. But yeah, on top of having like the Force Grab and the actual lightning itself that you can use simultaneously, like, yeah, Starkiller is definitely an underrated Star Wars character for sure. And if you know the character well, you know that they actually hold their lightsabers like backwards. So if we go ahead and equip them again, you will see that that is exactly the same in this hero pack. And from what I can tell, there aren't actually any sort of sound effects with this right now, but it is going to have the same damage as pretty much any other sort of like hero 2 hit. But yeah, if they're ever planning on like updating Starkiller right here, having like a lightsaber throw and like the sound effects would just make this character so cool. And yeah, that's why I always love coming back to this hero pack, because it literally just has characters from like all different franchises. You never really know who's going to be up next. Finishing off the video today, we do in fact have Blade Knight, which I believe is actually from Marvel Zombies. Yeah, it says right there. Let's go ahead and throw that on. And even though it does look a little bit goofy when I'm actually wearing this suit, it is still very cool to look at. And once again, before going into all the listed abilities, if we go ahead and press right shift, we actually go ahead and give ourselves this cape and the shoulder pads on top to match. Look at that. And this cape isn't actually just for show, because if we go ahead and jump off and press space again, you will see that we basically get the Moon Knight cape right here, the similar sort of shape. But let's go ahead and start out with the crescent darts right here, which we can simply equip by pressing N right there. And as you can see, we do get a little tiny crescent dart in our hand, which we can use as a handheld weapon, just like regular. Or if you wanted to play a little bit more at range, go ahead and hold this down. And there you go right there. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not meant to be doing that sort of damage, but I mean, yeah, like that is ridiculous amount of damage right there. But with this character, we also get a buff to our reflexes. So if we go ahead and press that, we get the speed start all the way up to level 1, which again, combined with actually being able to throw the darts and stuff like that, I mean, this guy is going to be extremely hard to actually hit. And that's not even going over the fact that you can, of course, just fly like we saw earlier. But with all those abilities there, this character is still not done, because we still get our hands on a good couple of gadgets as well. Or if I hold capital right here, you can see that we do get this absolutely ginormous sword, which is definitely going to be useful in like a close quarter fight, especially if, you know, you're hunting down vampires. But on the other side of that, we do also get the absolute classic katana right here as well. Which, yeah, just like before, this is obviously just going to be a regular 2-hit. But I mean, yeah, realistically, you really can't beat Blade with a katana right here. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that. So that right there was just a quick little glimpse at some of the newer suits and some of the suits I haven't tried out in a while, as well as returning to some absolute classics like that one. And I really hope you guys enjoyed nerding out with me going over some of the other franchises. And yeah, now I just gotta hope that somebody actually makes like a Back to the Future like DeLorean mod, because that would be absolutely ridiculous. But like I said, if you did enjoy the video and you saw characters that you thought you'd never see in a hero pack like I did, be sure to leave a like, comment, or even consider subscribing. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.
Bye.